Have you ever considered the complex web of global politics that can transform a single maritime attack into an international crisis? Let's unravel this tangled narrative, starting with the attack on a British oil tanker in the Red Sea. The vessel in question, the Marlin Luanda, was operated by the multinational firm Trafigura and was set ablaze off the coast of Yemen. The Houthi rebels, a Yemeni group, claimed responsibility for this audacious strike. They justified their actions by stating that the vessel was a British oil tanker and the strike was direct, employing a number of naval missiles. The U.S. Navy was quick to respond to the distress call from the flaming tanker, with the USS Carney and other coalition ships providing immediate assistance. Remarkably, amidst the chaos and the flames, there were no reported casualties. Even as we speak, brave firefighting teams are battling the inferno, attempting to tame the destructive power unleashed by the attack. The flames that engulfed the Marlin Luanda were but the spark that ignited a larger conflict. Let's follow the echo of this explosion to its resonating impact. In the wake of the tanker attack, the international community was forced to respond. Our focus now shifts to the retaliatory airstrikes by the US and the UK. The spark that ignited this escalation was the audacious Houthi attack on a British oil tanker, which set the vessel ablaze in the Red Sea. In response, the US and UK coalition forces took decisive action. 2 airstrikes were launched, targeting Yemen's main oil terminal in the Hodeidah province, the port of Ras Isa. This port serves as the primary oil export terminal, a strategic target that carries heavy implications for both the Houthi rebels and the Yemeni economy. In the high-stakes chess game of military conflict, each move is calculated and carries weight. This strike was no different. The implications of this move were twofold. Firstly, it was a direct retaliation to the Houthis' unprovoked attack on the oil tanker. Secondly, by targeting the primary oil export terminal, the coalition forces aimed to cut off a significant source of revenue for the Houthi rebels. But here's where the plot thickens. Despite the intensity of these strikes and their strategic significance, there was a notable silence from the US and UK. No immediate official comments were issued confirming the strikes. A silence that, in its own way, spoke volumes. While the coalition forces' response was swift and decisive, it also marked a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict. The situation in the Red Sea had taken a sharp turn, with the flames from the attacked tanker barely extinguished before the counterstrike was launched. The international community watched with bated breath as the stakes continued to rise. But let's not forget the human element in this story. Amid the smoke and flames, the crew of the targeted vessel fought bravely to control the fire. Their safety remained the foremost priority for the multinational firm operating the vessel Trafigura. Meanwhile, military ships were en route to provide assistance, underlining the seriousness of the situation. The smoky aftermath of these airstrikes marked a significant shift in the conflict. But the story doesn't end here. As the dust settles on the battlefield, we're left to ponder the future implications of this escalating conflict. What does this mean for Yemen, the Red Sea, and the world at large? The ongoing conflict between the US and UK coalition forces and the Yemeni Houthi rebels has been a turbulent saga of strikes and counterstrikes, marked by a shift in tactics and a steady escalation of tension. The recent attacks on vessels traversing the Red Sea, including a British oil tanker, have only served to fan the flames of this conflict. In the wake of these attacks, the British government made it clear that they reserve the right to respond appropriately. This stance underscores the gravity of the situation and the potential for further escalation. It's a reminder that the stakes are high, not just for the nations directly involved, but for the global community as well. The threats to commercial shipping are far from abstract. With the Red Sea serving as a key route for global trade, the persistent attacks by the Houthi rebels have already disrupted shipping operations, leading to increased costs and delays. If the conflict continues to escalate, the impact on global trade could be significant. But it's not just about economics. There's also the human cost to consider. With each strike and counterstrike, there is the potential for collateral damage, for lives lost and communities shattered. The safety of the crew on vessels like the Malin Luanda is a priority, but in the line of fire their safety cannot be guaranteed. There's also the wider geopolitical impact. The conflict in Yemen has already drawn in a host of nations, and the recent escalation could potentially draw in more. It's a tinderbox situation, where one misstep could ignite a larger conflict. In the tempestuous waters of the Red Sea, the future remains uncertain. As the world watches and waits, one thing is clear: the ripples of this conflict will continue to be felt far beyond the shores of Yemen. In the concluding moments of our narrative, we turn our thoughts to the wider implications of this conflict. The escalating tensions between the US and UK coalition forces and the Houthi rebels in Yemen have undoubtedly left an indelible mark on the region. The recent attacks on vessels transiting through the Red Sea, including the British oil tanker, have not only intensified the conflict but also threatened the stability of global shipping operations. The port of redsea, a critical oil export terminal in Yemen's Hodeidah province, has become a focal point of the conflict. The two coalition airstrikes have added another layer of complexity to the ongoing situation. This has led to a significant shift in the strategies of the US forces, moving from interception to direct strikes on Houthi targets before they can launch attacks. As we look to the future, the potential for further escalation looms large. The Houthi rebels have pledged to continue their attacks, and the US and UK have shown no signs of backing down. The impact on global shipping operations could be substantial, leading to increased costs and time delays. This conflict has not only geopolitical implications, but also affects the everyday lives of people around the world. As we navigate the uncertain waters of international conflict, one thing remains certain: the actions of today will shape the world of tomorrow. Stay informed, stay engaged, and as always, stay safe out there.